Merry Christmas, guys. It is Christmas morning in my house, a little crazy, so hopefully it won't be too loud making this video. We're in 2nd and 3rd John, thank goodness, because I really wanted to read Jesus' birth story. But I knew I wanted to get this Bible reading for the year, the plan done for today. So I'm super thankful. It's these short 2 books. The first one that stood out to me was 1 and 2. It says the truth, and they're actually referring to Jesus. So Christ abiding in us. And 2 is the one that stood out to me. Because I was thinking about how on my Christian journey, there'd be times where I felt really close to God and times that I just didn't feel close to him. And that's actually really deceptive because he's always near. He's always dwelling in us like that. He's always right there. Just sometimes we're not the ones talking to him. Like he's always, almost like if you're having at the dinner table every day, he's attending at that table. Just sometimes you go weeks not even talking to him and he's sitting at that table. And so how easy it really is to make a habit of just talking with him daily. And I noticed for myself, I would go through these spouts of feeling really near. And I'd be like, Lord, I don't want to fall away. I know I'll get distracted. I know things will get busy again as a mom and I'll kind of fall away and I don't want to lose this. Like I love feeling this closeness to you. And I realized how connected it was to my prayer time with him when I'd spend a lot of time in prayer with him. Because I had this long drive when we were in Medina, driving to the kids' school. It's like 40 minutes away. And I had this long time in the car that I would just pray because the kids were buckled in. And I would have this closeness and then they'd go on break and I wouldn't be doing that. And I noticed this when I moved back here and my son started back into the area where my kids go to school. And my son was going to a high school. He was homeschooling and doing 1 class at a high school. So I started doing prayer walks because he was only there 45 minutes. And you can't even like go to Target and check out in 45 minutes, like to get there, park and go in, you know what I mean? So like you really couldn't do anything else. So I would just drop him off and I would walk around in the back of his school around the track, just praying. And this nearness I got again. And I was like, oh, this is connected to how much time I'm spending. Like if you think about it, your best friend, when you talk to them every single day, how close you are versus somebody when you then hit a different season of life and you're not with them all the time. You're like, oh man, I was so close to that person. What happened? It's that amount of time you spend with them. So make it simple, but make it a habit to get with God every single day, and to connect with your best friend, to talk to him because he's sitting at your table waiting. The other thing that stuck out to me was that mercy, grace, peace. If any of these stand out to you this morning and you desire them, seek the source, which is Jesus. Seek him and he will give. And the last thing that stood out to me was in verse 10. It's talking about not receiving people into your house. This wasn't talking about Christians. It's talking about it's not talking about sinners. It's talking about Christians with false beliefs. And during this time, hospitality had a huge weight, and these were house churches. So basically what John's sharing here is hospitality doesn't mean you surrender discernment. So it doesn't mean you welcome someone in and like you wouldn't bring someone into your church to preach on your stage who didn't have good doctrine. And that's what he's talking about in that passage. Okay, John 3. This letter, the theme is steadfastness in the face of opposition. And the first one that stood out to me was verse 4. It says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in truth. And I love this line because it's the same thing for me, for my own children. I know he's not talking about his own children, but it made me think of my kids, how like there would be no greater joy than for all my kids to be walking with the Lord when they're grown. Like, I don't care if they get married. I don't care if they have kids. I don't care if they go to college. I don't care about anything else. Like, I don't even care if they make it to, 80 years old. Like, I just want them to love the Lord all of their life that God has allotted, the days that God allotted for their life here on earth, for them to love the Lord. So we have that promised eternity together. So that came to mind. The next thing was in verse 5 through 8. So 2nd John said, don't support false teachers. And 3rd John says, do support, though, faithful ones. So don't take in ones who are false teaching, but yes, support and take in and help and come alongside those who are of solid faith. And then verse 11, be imitators of good. It's action-based. Our faith is an action-based faith. We don't just listen, but we learn and we do, and we're imitators of that good. That's what I have for you guys today. Make sure you get into the Christmas story in scripture today to spend time and just marvel at the goodness of God sending his son today. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.